Good morning, gardening friends. So it's warmer outside than inside, so my camera's fogging up, but I got my cup of coffee, cup number 2, don't judge me, and we're about to check out this garden. I haven't been able to do a lot in the garden because I have to leave in the mornings right away, and it's been really hot, but my tomatoes are popping, and it's time to harvest onions and probably garlic today. So I'll give you guys a quick look at it and tell you, look at all that grass. There's a lot of grass out there. Alright, so the garlic is, a lot of it's starting to fall over, and these onions are done. So I'm going to do a final harvest through here, and then I can plant something else right there. And right here I have some kale that came back on its own. I need to kind of trim that up a little. I've got a new compost hole right here, and let's get a little closer. There's my old compost hole. I'm letting that finish. Ginger's looking good. So the Romas are really starting to pop. I've been harvesting a lot. They look a little off color, like they're not super perfect red, but don't worry, it's fine. But I've been harvesting often to promote more growth, and the hailstorm really hurt my garden. That's why there's a lot of tomatoes on the ground. Let's just pop over here. Whoops, I picked some last night and I left them out here. It's a big one. So on this one I have two different, let me wipe the screen. Two different kinds of tomatoes going on in here. I have these, I forgot the name. It might be Peron. And then I've got the Romas. So, and if they're damaged, I just pop them off. But I've tied this up, and the best I can. It's really an insane plant. Put that there. And moving on down. This is another one that's two plants, but I think they're both Roma. I'd like to show you the hail damage that happened on this awesome cherry tomato that I absolutely love. But the hailstorm that we had that cracked my windshield and damaged the heck out of my vehicle, both of our vehicles actually, you can see where it hit the plant on its way down. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I mean, tell me if you think I'm wrong. We've seen something like that before, but I mean, it just looks like where it got hit. But tomatoes are survivors. I mean, it even broke off whole tops. It broke my sunflower heads down, so it was nuts. But we're doing okay here. Okay, this is funny. I just grabbed a whole little half a t-shirt that I'd been cutting on because I couldn't find the scissors because this was falling down. And I missed. I needed to go ahead and tie that part up with it. But yeah, this one doesn't have as much going on. I'm gonna go ahead and take that a little early, and that'll ripen up. But it's still trying. Okay, and then my last one over here, amongst this volunteer squash, is another Roma. And this one had a lot of damage. That's why I'm one to just throw it on the ground. Not everybody practices that because it can invite things. So some of these I'm just pulling a little early. I probably should stop doing that, but it's been so hot. And oh wow, look, the top cracked. Yeah. These just got snapped off by the storm. If you can see that one. So this has basically been topped. This is all my asparagus is done. So out there, my tomatoes and peppers are not doing as good at all. So the soil's definitely better over here. But I have some nice sunflowers over there. So we'll check those out in just a second. I can hear a bee. There's a bee on my onions. That's so funny. Okay, I was about to harvest those onions. Some polar bear zinnias that we planted in the previous videos. They need a little weeding around them, but they're doing great and starting to flower. Let's show you guys this bee. Can you hear him? He's on my onions. That's so... These onions need to come out today. But again, now there's a bee hanging out on them. But they're done. You can tell when they're laying down like that, that's it. So again, another space I can plant some flowers over here. But I was going to come through and harvest all these today. Get them drying out. So let's harvest this garlic. I'm going to keep this video short and just not film everything today, but I want to give you guys the good stuff. Wow. Not bad. I harvested one last night to cook with, and they could use a little more time, but they're mostly done. But they did clove out there. So that's really, really, really cool. It's grocery store garlic for the 3rd year that I'm growing it. So it's basically my garlic now. But I don't know if I'll even have enough. That one didn't clove out as well. I don't know if I'll have enough saved to plant this again next year. I might buy some legit garlic, but we'll see, we'll see. So let's get an onion really quick. And it'll come out really easy. Wow, that's the biggest onion I've ever grown. Right there. There's a bigger one right there. So this is going to be fun today. Just getting rid of some of this stuff before the sun comes up. Look at all those worm castings around it. Wow, that's even bigger. That's really exciting. Beautiful. I love onions and garlic. Look how cool this, these chive. This is a Chinese chive going to seed. So the chives themselves look like they're this flat leaf chive. They're not my favorite, actually. They're not super tasty to me. But how gorgeous this is. I can't get over it. It's like... It's really, really cool. And these are so hardy. They've been here for years and years and years. And even if I don't use them, I'm not going to rip them out. They're really cool. I've got a squash going on down there. Alright, so final run through of what's going on. I've got that squash that I planted. It's running that way. I see some flowers. I don't see any fruit yet. This one is coming this way. Same, I see some flowers. Not really sure about the fruit yet. I planted some more acorn squash here. So I've got 3, and I overwatered it yesterday. Whoops. And I've got some flowers that we transplanted from the other spot out here. We've got a dog in the garden. There's my giant broccoli that's just like, look at this. It's putting out more broccoli. Look at that one laying down all the way to there. It's absolutely stunning. I love it. So that's going to be a nice zinnia right here. All these onions are done. A couple more zinnias. Lots of weeds. And I planted more cucumbers. What else? I'm trying to get everything in. But yeah, those are going to come out this morning. And here comes the sun. So I better get to it. Thanks for tuning in. Let's check out the sunflowers. And I hope y'all have a great day. So these are my multi-heading sunflowers, and they survived the storm. They got damaged. You can see a lot of broken branches. I was worried about them more than my car, but you can see some. some actual branches snapped off, but look how tall that is. Look way up there. That's 11 feet tall, and there's more. All of these are gonna head sunflowers. So I love these multi-heading sunflowers. I'm so glad they made it. Snapped. Alright, so here's what I got today. I'm really excited about the big red onions. Those are my favorite, and it's the biggest I've ever been able to grow them, so I'm really happy about that. And then the white onions didn't get as big. There's a few, maybe close to baseball size white onions here. So I got to get these laid out to dry. I have a bunch more onions, and I'll show you the ones that I have on a couple different stages of drying, because I've been picking them as we go. So yeah, I'm really happy about this. I love onions. Alright, so this is the other stash that I've had out in the carport for a couple of weeks, and they're a lot more dry. I like to let the stems dry before I trim the stems off, just so it can kind of finish off. It's like the umbilical cord of the onion. So here they are. So yeah, and then inside I have ones that I've already trimmed, and I'll throw in a picture of those. Those have been drying out inside. They got a little wet, and so I brought them inside and put a fan on them on some newspaper. So yeah. And so the next step will be to store my onions in, I like to store them in those to-go containers that you use for cups. We have them from our coffee truck, but if you get a bunch of drinks from somewhere and you have a couple of those, I like to stack them in there because it like lets the air go between them, and so that's worked for me. And then I keep them in a dark, cool place, and they'll keep for months. So I love onions.